Hi, thanks very much for being here. I have been in the basement, and under a whole lot of boxes was a box that was marked CBM. This could be anything. But what it ended up being was, yes, the Commodore 64. And some other things, but certainly a Commodore 64. Ooh, there is some dust and cobwebs and such, and it's pretty dirty. What I'm about to try is perhaps foolhardy. Firstly, I have my always best to turn the monitor on. Please wait. This is my test 64, and I, at the moment, have it plugged into my original Commodore 64 power supply, the one that, yes, I took it apart and I washed it. Well, I washed the case. And then I put it back. And it seems okay. So, life is good. Anyway, that is what is happening, running right now. I'm going to turn this off, pull out the power cord, remove the video cable, put this over here, and yes, I'm going to live dangerously. I'm going to live on the edge. The power button seems to work. Oh, there's the end of the cable. I could use my Commodore 128 power supply, the one that I always struggle to get in, but I am not going to. I'm going to use, oh, that's the cable. That's the video cable. I'm going to use this original power supply to see what happens when I flip this switch. Should I open the machine first? Have a little look around? Yes, I should, but I'm not going to. Alright, I'm not going to look. I'm going to flip. I hear something. I heard something. But I don't think I see something. I don't see anything. No, let's see. What did I hear? Ooh. Well. That kind of reminds me of the Commodore Christmas demo from long ago. So something is happening in there. I will try again. Well, that looks a little better. So from nothing to gibberish to okay. And even though the keyboard outwardly looks dirty, seems to be okay. Well, maybe it is time. Oop. Oh, man. Aha. Maybe it is time to try the dead test cartridge, which will take a moment. Then it will come up. And things will happen. This power supply, one thing I have definitely in these days of electricity things and stuff, if you're not, like if you have your stuff plugged into a power bar, like do turn the power bar off when you're not there. Because, not that I was using this for very long before, and it does have its air vents and things, but I did notice there was warmth. And and I didn't have it turned on. I didn't have it, I guess it was plugged in, but it wasn't turned on. So, even if you're not using your machine, these things will draw power, and that too could kill the power supply, and thus the 64, or the 128, or whatever. I found also, in the basement, these things called easy pickups. And it's basically a magnifying glass with tweezers. Alright, I'm not sure which is the volume. I'll press that. Damn it. That is not what I wanted. I'm going to turn that off. Turn it back on. See if it'll go back. Please wait. Oh dear. Alright, let's try that. Yeah, digital channel signal strength is low, of course it is. Oh dear, dear, dear. I'm into a mess. I don't want these things. See, I don't have a remote for this. Oh, that was silly, silly, silly. Anyway. Yeah, these things could be handy, I think. Anyway, I'll put them with stuff. Alright. Hang on. Alright, what do we got here? Input settings. Oh, I don't want that, but I guess I do. I want video. Haha! It's okay. Alright, now what I was after. Oops. Was volume. I wanted this a little higher. Because I thought I heard something a little squirrely with the SID chip. Now, of course, the SID chip, it only tests 3 voices on this thing. I don't know why, but that's what it does. Anyway, I'll let this run. So, how is this power supply feeling? Pretty good. So back to what I was saying about saving power and saving everything. Because, of course, heat is the enemy. You got a power bar connected to things, turn it off. If, otherwise, I guess unplug everything. If there's no overriding switch. Alright, so this should sing, it should be loud, and I should be able to hear if there's any weirdness. I should. Soon. Oh, good. Alright. Alright, with great care. I'm not going to take this thing out. I'm just going to jump the jumpers. At least that's what I'm going to try and do. And now flip one of the dip switches. And this will be another test, which should have the harness. Oh. again. What have I done? Says he. Oh, 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 come on. Oh. Alright, now we're getting different. All may not be well. Oh, alright. You know what? I'm going to use this thing. Alright, so for the diagnostic 586220, I need the jumpers on the lower positions that they are on, and I need the switches to be off, off, and on. And that is what I have, but I'm going to just switch the switches one more time and check the jumpers and reinsert this. It worked fine on the dead test. Alright, what do we got? There we go. So why am I doing this? Well, even though I don't have the harness here, I want to hear all the voices on the SID chip. I do. So we'll let this go through its time. It's funny, you know, speaking of the harness, I had a message from a fellow wondering, okay, here it comes. Okay, SID chip good. Anyway, got a message from this fellow, and he wondered if I would sell him a video chip, which of course I would. But I always feel compelled to ask questions about, well, why do you think you need one? Anyway, it goes back to the harness. Apparently he has a harness, he has whatever, cartridge, and he was trying to figure things out. And somehow or another, he put the cassette port attachment from the harness onto the port upside down, and now all he's getting is a black screen. So it's reasonable, when of course you are getting no video, that you might think it's the video chip. I was not convinced. So I started asking a few questions. For example, what I've said a number of times is you can, let me get this turned off, and this out of here. Oh. You can, I will turn this on. There's a lot of things that you can learn from your 1701, 1702, whatever monitor you have, even one of these, although I think you can learn more from one of the Commodore monitors, because immediately when you turn it you will see things. Like if I turn this on, I get it says video, but I don't see anything, and then it says video, and then I wait, and then it comes up. On the real monitors, but the ones that don't film well, you might see a flash or a little, just some indication that, you know, there is something happening. So I did ask him, you know, are you getting a flash? Are you getting, like, anything on the screen? He said, nothing. And I said, well, have you checked your fuse? Now, we must remember this fellow, I think this might have been the first repair he tried, and it didn't go well. He put the thing on backwards, and now it was dead, and I don't think his confidence was really high. But really, to me, it sounded like, and that's why they put fuses in, the fuse was blown. And to make a long story short, the fuse was blown. There may be other issues that he has to deal with. I'm sure there are. I don't remember exactly what he said. I think something about a 6526 that he might have to desolder. Oh, I remember. Fast flashing cursor that then froze. which off the top of my head, I'm not sure. But anyway, but I could have, without thinking, said, sure, I'll sell you a video chip. But I was not convinced that he actually needed it. Now, eventually he may need such a chip for something else, but I wasn't convinced that this was the video chip. And it was not. It was the fuse. So, all is well and good. So this seems to be fine. Of course, we have no disk drive present. I will change the screen color, sorry, the background color, and the screen color, and the cursor color, and I will print Commodore 64. Oops. All this helps if you hit the right keys. So I put print, quote. By the way, I shouldn't do this, but I do this. For some reason, on most things, way back when, print could be shortened to putting in a question mark. I don't know why, but it did. So, if you're looking at this and you can see it, which you probably can't, I didn't actually type print. I put in a question mark. So it's, but imagine I did. If I list this, it will say print. Print Commodore 64. Sorry, print space. No. Print. I'll do the whole thing. 10. Print, quote, Commodore, space, 64, space, quote, semicolon, colon. Go to 10. This means it'll print it, but it'll print the next one right after it. And if I remember rightly, this looks pretty cool. Woo! Yes. It does. There we go. So I will have to, I suppose, burn this in some and just make sure. And certainly it needs to be tidied up. But it does seem to be functioning. Strange the way it started, that it didn't start, and then it kind of started, and then it did start. So maybe I'll let it get really cold and see. I have never replaced the capacitors in one of these machines. Maybe I should do that. It doesn't sound like, compared to unsoldering a chip, it doesn't sound like a terrible thing to have to do. Anyway, so, another basement find, Commodore 64, and this is of course why when people say, how many do you have? Even though I've been trying to count, I keep losing count, and then of course I found another box. So, I don't know. More than 5. To be sure. So, thank you. Oh. We are getting towards game time for the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Toronto Raptors. Not yet, but we are getting there. So, thank you for being here and seeing this garage, basement, find, or basement fresh Commodore 64. Running on an original Commodore 64 power supply that I took apart. And as I was saying, one thing you really got to be careful of. This is kind of a medium-sized Phillips. When you stick your screw, it is Phillips screws, but when you stick it down there, and you can't see really very well, but it is a Phillips screw as far as I know, in every one of them. Really, if you're rocking around and it's really not fitting right, then try another screwdriver until you feel something that really feels good. Otherwise, you will strip the heads and you will never get in. Anyway. Alright. Thank you. Always a pleasure.